So, to kill or not to kill? That apparently is the question. But why are we asking that question? Why would anyone want to kill a Sasquatch? Well, the shortest, simplest answer to that is to prove their existence. Now, the follow-up question that usually follows that answer is, why is it so important to prove the existence of these creatures? Well, again, I'll go with the shortest, simplest answer. To get them and their habitats protected. I think that is the ultimate goal. I know it is of the Southern Sasquatch Project. I think it is of most other research organizations, regardless of which approach they're taking, the kill or the no kill. That is the ultimate goal, because we know that human encroachment is moving deeper and deeper into their territory every day. And without knowing really what these things are, well, we don't have any kind of understanding about how our encroachment is affecting them as a species. Possibly it's working to our advantage because we're moving in on them and forcing them into other areas and making their area smaller and smaller. But, I mean, ultimately that's not cool. We shouldn't be doing that. And I know, and I've talked about this before, it's kind of a catch-22, because if we get them protected as an endangered species, which they definitely would be if they were proven to exist, because there's obviously not many of them, it would be almost devastating, if not completely devastating, to the lumber industry, to the mining industry, and to the oil industry. It would be devastating to them, potentially, if the Sasquatch's habitats were protected by law, that you couldn't log, you couldn't mine, you couldn't pump oil anymore on that land. But anyway, as people who love Sasquatch as a species and have spent and invested so much time, energy, effort, and money into finding some, I think it's important that we do those things. And now we, get led back to the first question: to kill or not to kill? What's the best route to take? That's up to you. It's not up to me. It's not up to what another organization might think or another individual. It's up to you as an individual to decide which is the best. I'm going to try to present both sides as equally and fairly as possible, as to not, cloud your judgment. So you make the decision after you watch the video and decide to kill or not to kill, because that is the question. Let's start with the no-kill side. That seems, the kindest, gentlest way of going about this. What do those guys want to do? Well, those guys and girls want to find the Bigfoots where they are and watch them and learn their habits, learn their behaviors, figure out any patterns they might have, learn as much as they can through observation, and then report those observations not only to the public but to the scientific community, and use that as an educational piece, which is important. I think everyone should know as much as they can about these creatures. So the people who are doing that, and there's a lot of people on the kill side that are doing this also. I think any proper research team, that's the way they're conducting their business, regardless of what their ultimate goal is in this debate. But anyway, they want to take that approach, document everything they can, either if it's video, if it's photographic evidence, audio evidence, as far as sound recordings, footprints. I mean, they want to collect as much evidence as they can, which, makes complete and total sense, right? And then take this and present it to the scientific community and to the public. And this is the way we've been doing it for dozens of years now. And unfortunately, it's really gone nowhere, because the scientific community refuses to accept any of this evidence as substantial, irrefutable evidence to the existence of Sasquatch. even though some of this evidence is remarkable. And I talk about the footprint cast all the time that show signs of dermal ridges on the bottoms of their feet, which, dermal ridges on hands and feet, that's something that's exclusive only to primates. So whatever these things are, they're a primate because they have these dermal ridges on their feet. But that in itself is good evidence. Experts have looked at these tracks and admitted that while they could be faked, it would be very difficult, especially since some of these footprint casts, there's several of them that exist, are consistent and about how they look, and they're coming from different areas of the United States. They're consistent when how they look, but yet different enough to show individualism. So that is good evidence, in my opinion, and in the opinion of hundreds of people just like me. This is good, substantial evidence, but not for the scientific community. There's been hair samples collected. Hair samples, they're nearly impossible to get DNA from, but you can look at the structure about how they're made, and match them in the database to other hairs. Now, often these hairs come back as bear, deer, dogs, human, but there's a few out there that exist. There's a handful out there that don't come back to anything on the database. You can't look at these hairs and say, well, this is definitely this. So that's good evidence. That's the sign that there's something out there. Even if it's just in that one area where they collected that hair, there's one out there at least that doesn't fit the mold of anything else that's living in North America. And that in itself deserves a proper investigation by the scientific community, but they don't see it that way. There's sound recordings that don't match anything that's in the North American database. It's not an owl. It's not a coyote or a wolf. It's not a moose. It's not an elk. It's a sound that's coming back as a primate. It's coming back that it's some sort of monkey or ape species. Science ignores that. Now, the no-kill side wants to keep presenting this evidence and building up enough of it, because you would think that if you could present more and more and more evidence and continue to build your mountain of evidence, that it would get noticed one day. And a few scientists throughout history have noticed that. Grover Krantz, Jeff Meldrum, they both, as scientists, as anthropologists, took the time to look into this topic, and both of them agreed that Sasquatches were a real species. But they were ridiculed within the scientific community. They were ridiculed by the universities they worked for. And even though some universities and some other scientists have softened their view on Sasquatch, they still don't want to touch the topic with a 10-foot pole and put any money into it. Getting back on track here, the no-kill side has a lot to their advantage with the technology that's available today, because you have stuff that we didn't have maybe 20 years ago in the field. You have drones now. You have high-tech cameras now, and better recording equipment, better audio equipment. The things that they're using are better and should make it easier to catch credible evidence. But on the same side, that technology that's helping them out, is also has a great potential to hurt them with the use of AI. And AI can look so real. And I know we use AI in our videos, but we would never use AI to try to fake evidence to, show a Bigfoot and claim it to be real. But there's a lot of people who would. And some of them are claiming to be proper investigators in all this. So the technology that could possibly benefit us as a whole in the bigfooting community also has the potential to hurt us. But the no-kill side of this wants to continue building their, what I'm going to call a mountain of evidence, and uses better technology to prove it, to prove the existence, basically. Is it doable? Yeah, I think it is. We just have to find the right scientist at the right time who's willing to tackle this subject again. We have to get that person. We have to get her or him to write a proper paper on this thing and try to identify this thing about the evidence that is out there, whatever that evidence may be. That's what the no-kill side, that's what their intentions are. And they're a noble cause. Don't ever knock them for what they're doing. It's a very noble cause. Just like the no-kill side is, that we're going to get into in a minute. So, is the no-kill, do they make some good points? Absolutely. Do they have some downsides? Yeah, they have those too. But overall, I think the no-kill side, with enough work, enough effort, and it could take years and years more, and maybe they run, the chance of finding a body one day, finding some bones, finding a tissue sample, maybe they can do it that way. So that's the no-kill. All right, moving on to the kill side. Again, I don't think their ultimate goal is any less noble than the no-kill side. It's a bit more abrasive, sure, but nonetheless noble. I'm sure there's people out there who just want to kill a Bigfoot for the sake of killing a Bigfoot, okay? But I think that the organizations that are out there trying to do this, and the individuals who are out there trying to do this, I think for the most part, the huge majority of them, their intentions are to get it classified, to get it recognized by science. Anyway, their goal is to go out in the woods, and it takes work beforehand. It takes all the same studying the other side's doing, okay? They have to learn habits, they have to learn locations, and do all the same things. And then hunt that location with the intentions of harvesting a Bigfoot and presenting it to the scientific community and presenting it to humanity as a whole. I mean, certainly, the public's going to hear about this thing if it gets presented to science. Obviously, the odds of this are pretty slim. I mean, let's be real. I'm not saying there's never been a Bigfoot killed, because maybe there has been and it went unreported because someone was scared about, they didn't know what they had killed. It's possible. I'm not saying that has happened. I'm saying it's possible. But I think all in all, apparently the odds are against them. I know there's a few people and a few groups out there who claim they've shot one and either nothing happened, or they left and came back and it was gone, or it got hit, blood sprayed, it ran away, they got blood samples, they came back as human or whatever. There's a few of these stories out there. But obviously it's not going to be easy. The organizations that have been doing this, they've been doing it for years, have nothing to show for it. But they continue to do what they're doing, waiting for that perfect opportunity, that perfect shot. Is it wrong to have a sacrificial Sasquatch to save the rest of the species? I mean, that's your judgment call on that. The scientific community has actually been doing this for hundreds of years. When Europeans first came to what they called the New World, they used to kill birds and mammals and reptiles and the creatures they were finding here that were different than the ones in Europe. so they could examine them, dissect them, draw them, write a description. Excuse me. Put the description and the drawing in a book and take it back to Europe with them and show off all these new animals that they had discovered in the New World, because there was no cameras back then. This was the way they had to do it. Oftentimes, till today, when a new species is discovered, even if it's something as simple as an ant, they will take a specimen and take it to the scientific community at a university somewhere or in a lab somewhere, and they'll do all those things to it. That in itself is nothing new, okay? Darwin did it when he was sailing the world on a beagle, okay? That in itself isn't new. So, in this case, would it be wrong to have the sacrificial Bigfoot to save the rest of the Bigfoot? Again, that's your personal call. I think it's a noble cause for their end game. I'm not going to say if I agree with the route they're taking to get there or not, because it's up to you to decide, like I said earlier. I think the odds are stacked against them. Are there any good things about the kill side? Yeah. It would be, if one got shot today, it would be the fastest way to get it recognized by the scientific community. If someone were to go out today and get the best video evidence ever, that thing would fall under scrutiny for years, if not decades at a time, before it was brought forth to the scientific community. Look at the Patterson-Gimlin film. It's still being scrutinized. So actually taking one today would be the fastest way to get it recognized. And for the scientific community, it would be the simplest way to get it documented, because they have one right there in front of them. They can look at it, dissect it, take samples, do x-rays, all the things they want to do to it. So that's the kill side. They have some good points. There's some bad things about it. But it's also, those bad things are a personal thing, And like I said, I'm not going to deter you either way. I'll do another video to give my side. Today, I want you to decide as you watch this video, which is the best way to go about doing it. I'm trying to be as fair as possible. I'm trying to be equal. Both sides make good points. Both sides, in a lot of ways, are dreaming, okay? I don't think all the evidence in the world without a body is going to convince the scientific community. I think getting a body to the scientific community is going to be nearly as impossible, if not as impossible. But that's the debate. Kill or no kill. You make the call. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.